The key factors was unemployment climbed to about 10.8% by the end of 1982, higher than any post-World War II peak to that date. Industrial production dropped sharply. Many goods producing sectors took severe hits. Consumer spending, housing, and durable goods purchases all fell significantly under the burden of high interest rates. Inflation had been very high, and the central bank responded with aggressive policy tightening, which deepened the downturn. In short, the economy contracted, many people lost jobs, investments dried up, and recovery was slow at first. All right. There have been decrying gloom and doom for the Trump economy since he began, especially with the tariffs. But we don't see that. Um, and hopefully, with the up to $18 trillion that's promised for the investment in the coming years, we can see a movement away from that. But again, going back to history, though, why it happened? Several intertwined causes led to the collapse. Here are the major ones: high inflation and preceding shocks. During the 1970s, the U.S. faced persistent inflation, in part from oil stocks. President Trump has made us back again as a producer, and weak growth, stagnation. The oil crisis, notably 1979, raised energy and production costs, squeezing consumers and businesses. President Trump has negotiated deals with the EU and other countries to buy our oil and gas. Tight monetary policy. The Federal Reserve, under Chairman Paul Volcker, raised interest rates sharply to fight inflation. The prime rate peaked near 20% in 1981. High rates made borrowing very expensive for homes, cars, and business investment. That led to a decline in construction, manufacturing, and durable goods spending. I want to take note, by President Trump putting the pressure on illegal immigrants, the need for housing, the need for construction, and other goods, school, roads goes down. Something to consider. Weak structural foundation, especially in goods and industries. Some sectors, including housing, auto, steel, mining, were already weak coming into the recession. When rates shot up and demand collapsed, those sectors suffered disproportionately. Fiscal policy and tax changes. The Economic Recovery Act of 1981 cut taxes significantly, which some argue increased deficits and complicated policy responses. Then in 1982, the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982 raised some taxes and attempted fiscal adjustments under stress. All right. External global factors that went into the problem: a strong US dollar, weak export market, high oil import costs, and global debts pressures contributed. So again, with the Trump effect, things are turning around, but we'll see how much. And now we got the Zohan Mandami effect coming into New York. We'll see if they can work together as they seem to be able to get along in the White House. Now, could Trump reverse a similar collapse? He has a verdict won so far in his first administration. Before COVID hit, he was a rock star. He was bringing the economy together. That lab leak, turned everything around. Killed up to, I think it was 30 some million people worldwide, over a million in the United States, if you can trust the numbers. We will see as Trump's economy can survive. If we ask whether Trump or any president could reverse a collapse like the one in 1982? The answer is yes, but only partially and with significant constraints. Here are the factors to consider. What a president can influence: fiscal policy, tax cuts, spending changes, targeted investment. He has gone and got promises from around the world. He's a rock star, no matter what you hear from the Democrats. Saudi Arabia came here and went from 640 billion to now up to $1 trillion investment in AI and different things. So they don't want to give him credit. They hate him. They got Trump derangement syndrome. But the fact of the matter is, he is bringing the bacon home. The time of building everything in the enemy's backyard in China is slowly turning around, and the man is on a mission. Trade policy, tariff, renegotiation, incentives for domestic production. He is doing all of that. He is getting no credit from the legacy media. He's getting no credit from the politicians, but he's doing it. He is making inroads. Regulatory policy, deregulation, incentives for business investment. He's doing all that. We'll see what he can do with Zoran in New York, which is a major hub. Public messaging and confidence. That's the one thing that, like the Epstein files, they could have did a lot better on the messages, in my opinion. Leadership can affect business and consumer sentiment. He got to use the bully pulpit to talk about what his successes are. He's trying to do that. He's pointing that out. And the rabid media is going on sensational talking points instead of facts. What are limitations? Monetary policy, interest rate, money supply is set by the feds, not directly by the president. Now, coming up, the Fed chairman is going to have to step down. We'll see what Trump can do. Structural economy issues like modernization of manufacturing, global competition, and productivity take years to shift. But thank the dear Lord, he has put in the work, and the shift is on from China back to America. Global forces, oil stocks, foreign demand, exchange rates lie mainly outside of presidential control. Large deficits constrain fiscal options. We are at $38 trillion, people. Every 9 months, we put on another trillion. Something must be done. Policies can have unintended consequences, such as tariffs can raise consumer prices, slow growth. For example, many economists caution that Trump's proposed tariffs risk raising inflation and triggering a recession. None of that has happened. The academics, the scholars, the you know professional talking heads have been wrong over and over. His trade war with China, his trade war with Europe, his trade war with Canada, trade war with Mexico has won him victory after victory. 9 wars put down. They won't give the man any credit. All right. Could Trump specifically reverse the 1982 collapse? Since the 1981-82 collapse is long past, we cannot literally reverse it now. That's just a academic problem. But we can ask whether Trump could handle a similar collapse so that it ends sooner or causes less damage. The answer is probably, potentially, yes. If he chooses a coherent mix of policies that stabilize growth, reduce inflation, restore business confidence, and maintain fiscal discipline. But this would require getting many pieces right and avoiding major shocks. Getting Trump's preferred policy toolkit, given that we know what his toolkit is: tariff, tax cuts, emphasis on manufacturing revival, he could make an impact, and I hope to God he does, but there is a risk. For example, sweeping tariff can hurt growth and raise costs for consumers. Analysis warned that some of his trade proposals might worsen inflation or slow growth. Um, could, maybe, but the man is moving on with a mission. All right, summary. High inflation, tight monetary policy, weak sectors, fiscal strains, and external shocks drove the 1982 economic collapse. It resulted in severe job losses, production declines, and a painful downturn. A president like Trump can influence fiscal, trade, and regulatory policies to alleviate such a collapse, but cannot fully control it. Even with the best policy, reversing a deep collapse requires time, structure, reforms, and alignment of monetary, fiscal, and external factors. If Trump adopted a sensible policy, investment, tax reforms, judicious trade policy, he could have helped mitigate a collapse. But many of his known proposals from the talking heads carry risks that could make recovery harder rather than easier. We shall see. So far, oil prices down, egg prices down. Things are moving in the right direction. And by making it in America, we are bringing back the middle class, which many don't understand. And by removing the lower wage illegal immigrants, we're raising the price of what you get paid because that was dwindling. It's going up high for the execs, but the blue collar workers weren't getting the raises. So tell me what you think. Please like, follow, and share, and drop a comment. Thank you.